Hey friends, welcome back. Today we are talking creating the perfect vintage inspired gallery wall. I recently had the opportunity to help out my sister-in-law and her business partner as they are decorating an Airbnb. They had me come in and help them create a gallery wall, and as I was doing it, I was thinking there might be some tips and tricks that would be really helpful for me to share with you guys in case you'd like to create one in your own home. So if that's what you're looking for, stay tuned. So first things first, thrift your frames. This is the easiest, most inexpensive way to get your gallery wall started. And I always say to get your frames before you go in to get your prints. That way you know what sizes to get of the prints. As you're looking for frames, look for maybe 2 different styles of frames that you want to incorporate. I typically look for the gilded gold frames and then usually a wood tone. For me, I like dark wood tones, so I will look for various sizes in both styles. Next up, I always do a mock layout. So I gather all of the frames that I've thrifted, find some floor space, and lay them all out. This is the time where you just kind of want to move things around, shift them, see what looks best to the eye. It also gives you a chance to understand which orientations all of your prints need to be, and if you need to gather anything else before actually completing and hanging your gallery wall. I always like the addition of small frames, or even if you can find small vintage items that you can hang up within your wall, just to add a little bit of interest. Vintage floral prints, landscapes, portraits, all of those things I'm very into. I think they can complete a really beautiful vintage gallery wall. So that's what I typically go for. You can get your prints a couple of different ways. If I'm in a pinch and I want to get something quickly, I'm just going to go over to Etsy, support one of the small shops on there, and pick from their perfectly curated collections. Or you can go and grab free digital files from the public domain archives, and you just have to search through and find photos that you want. If you'd like to know more about public domain images, I've made a whole video on that for you, so I will link that down below. It talks all about public domain images as well as printing, so it will tell you kind of what paper to print on and the different companies that I like to use for printing, so I will link that down below for you to check out. Oftentimes when I'm thrifting frames, I run across frames that are not a standard size. So if you're using a print company that doesn't offer custom sizing, you may need to do a little bit of adjusting. This is a little tip that I think is super helpful when you're in this situation. This particular frame was a 9x15, and the closest standard size to that was a 10x15. So I went ahead and ordered the 10x15 and then used the glass as a guide to know exactly where to make my cuts so that I could get my print perfectly fitted to this frame. Another thing that I run into when using thrifted frames is sometimes the backing on the frames, which is typically like a cardboard, just can't be saved. Sometimes it's too dirty and you have to toss it. So you can either have your prints mounted to some kind of foam board when you're ordering them, or you can do what I did in this case, which is just use the cardboard that they use for shipping to protect your prints to create a backing. So I used the same method with the glass and just created my own backing. And a handy little tip, if you've got a paint can opener lying around, it is the best little tool for opening and closing staples on your frames. I like to have one that is a little bit bigger, kind of centered somewhere, and then I kind of start to work off of that, and that goes for hanging as well. Get your centerpiece hung and then work all of your measurements off of that. Before hanging, I like to lay it all out on the ground one last time in case of any last minute adjustments I might want to make. Now, you'll also notice that I like to take the glass out of all of my frames. Not only does it eliminate the glare, I also think it elevates it, gives it a little bit more of a high-end look. Now, you've got a lot of different sizes of frames going on, different prints going on, so something that I think really helps to clean it up is to keep your spacing between your frames as consistent as possible. I typically do about a 1/2 inch, but this is determined by your personal preference and also the amount of wall space that you are filling. But if you like that gallery wall look, but still prefer kind of an orderly feel to it, keeping your spacing consistent I think delivers that for you. For more decor tips, tricks, and renovation vlogs, be sure to subscribe and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.